The camera crew wasn't supposed to catch it. That little look on Christine's face, the one that didn't belong to a woman who was just moving on, but to someone who had been waiting years, for this exact moment. A smirk, soft and fleeting, like a secret finally breaking free. And then she dropped it. On Instagram, casually, like it was nothing. But the caption was everything. I can't believe I finally had the courage to write what I did. One sentence. One confession. One spark that ignited an inferno that Kody Brown never saw coming. Because behind that simple post wasn't just a memoir. It was dynamite. Christine Brown's memoir wasn't going to be another fluffy celebrity cash grab, it was a weapon. A carefully sharpened blade aimed straight at the heart of the man who once controlled her life, her choices, her marriage, and even her self-worth. And the world? The world was ready. For years, fans had watched this family unravel in slow motion. The sister wives experiment, once sold as a story of unity and faith, had crumbled into public betrayals, financial chaos, and visible heartbreak. But nobody, not even the most die-hard fans, could have predicted that Christine would be the one to finally break the silence. What she hinted at was clear: she wasn't just going to tell her story. She was going to burn the illusions to the ground. The calm before the explosion, the timing was brutal. Kody had been nursing his image back together, or at least trying to. TLC specials, awkward cameos, public defenses, all of it designed to frame him as a man misunderstood, a father maligned, a husband who had simply been dealt an impossible hand. But Christine's post? It was a wrecking ball. Inside that book, sources whispered, were intimate confessions. Not vague references, not soft rewrites. No, Christine was going to talk about what really happened behind those closed doors. The nights. The arguments. The betrayals. And, most humiliating of all, the intimacy secrets Kody had spent years trying to bury. This wasn't just about polygamy anymore. This was about masculinity, power, and the brutal truth of what really happened in those marriages. Kody's panic the moment Christine's post hit the internet. Kody spiraled. Producers caught him pacing, muttering, scrambling to figure out what she had written. Was it about the money? The secret bank accounts? The way he had divided the children into favorites and forgotten ones? Or was it about the bedroom, the most fragile corner of his pride? Whatever it was, he knew it was going to be devastating. Because here's the thing about Kody, he had built his entire identity around control. Controlling the narrative. Controlling the women. Controlling the family. But Christine's memoir was the one thing he couldn't control. And worse? She knew exactly where to strike. Christine's revenge. Christine didn't rush into this. This wasn't the heat-of-the-moment anger of a woman scorned. This was calculated. Patient. Years in the making. She had watched Mary be humiliated. She had watched Janelle be dismissed. She had watched her own children cry themselves to sleep while Kody disappeared into Robyn's home like the rest of them didn't exist. And then she had watched the public swallow the narrative Kody and Robyn spun, that she was jealous, angry, bitter. So Christine decided, fine. Let's tell the real story. And what a story it was. The hook in the pages of that memoir lay revelations that would humiliate Kody in ways no divorce paper ever could. Whispers said she wrote about the money trail, how Kody funneled resources to Robyn while the other wives struggled. Others said she wrote about the intimate rejections, the nights when Kody dismissed her, demeaned her, left her humiliated and questioning her worth as a woman. But the cruelest detail? Christine didn't just write it for herself. She wrote it for every woman who had ever been silenced, dismissed, or told to be quiet in the name of keeping the peace. And that made her dangerous. Because this wasn't just Christine's story anymore. This was a reckoning. Kody's worst fear. When Kody stormed home to Robyn that day, the cameras followed. He was pale, shaken, raging like a man who'd just been blindsided. Because he knew, if Christine put in print what he thought she might, it wasn't just his reputation that would collapse. It was his entire identity. For decades, he had been the patriarch, the head of the family, the man with all the answers. But now? He was about to become a punchline. And Christine? Christine was about to become the hero. Closing hook for Part 1. Christine's teaser was just the beginning. The internet lit up. Fans dissected every word, every photo, every rumor about what could be inside those pages. But nobody was prepared for the first real bombshell. Because when Christine's memoir hit shelves, it wasn't just about betrayal. It was about exposure. And the first chapter? It took aim at the one thing Kody Brown valued most, his manhood. And trust me, he never recovered. The sacred illusions shatter. Christine's words didn't just land like a spark. They spread like wildfire. Because for years, Kody Brown had built his entire identity on two illusions, the illusion of control and the illusion of unity. But Christine's memoir? It didn't just crack the surface. It took a sledgehammer to the foundation. The intimacy bombshell. Christine's first explosive claim was about something Kody always insisted was private. But in her book, she made it crystal clear, intimacy in a plural marriage wasn't just complicated, it was a battlefield. And while viewers suspected favoritism, Christine wrote what no one dared to say out loud, that Kody weaponized intimacy. That it wasn't about love. It wasn't about connection. It was about power. She described nights where he would make promises to rotate fairly, only to vanish for weeks at a time into Robin's home, leaving Christine alone, humiliated, pretending to the children that everything was fine. Christine admitted that she would sometimes sleep with the TV on, because the silence of his absence felt louder than any argument. And then she dropped the line that broke the internet, "I wasn't married. I was a placeholder. I was there to prove a point to the world, that Kody could juggle 4 wives. But the truth is, he only ever wanted one." Robin's panic the second those words were published. Robin reportedly spiraled. Sources close to the family whispered that she begged Kody to sue Christine for defamation. She said, "She's trying to ruin us. She's trying to tear apart everything we built." But here's the problem. You can't sue someone for telling the truth. And Kody knew it. Instead, he slammed doors, ranted about loyalty, and turned his fury inward, not at Christine, but at Mary and Janelle. Because in Kody's world, if Christine had the courage to say it out loud, that meant the others could be next. The financial betrayals begin to surface. Christine's book didn't just stop at intimacy. She hinted carefully, but clearly, at financial betrayals. She painted the picture of Coyote Pass not as a dream, but as a financial...
There was a... I don't know. She asked to be in the family, whatever, for what reasons.
Financial trap. How the wives were pressured into pooling their money. How Robin's expensive house became the unspoken priority, and how promises of fairness evaporated the second Kody had a chance to secure Robin's future. She didn't give every detail in Part 1 of her memoir, but she gave just enough. Enough for journalists, fans, and even estranged Brown children to start connecting the dots. And within days, TikTok, Reddit, and YouTube were ablaze. Creators pulled property records, old TLC contracts, and past footage, lining it up side by side with Christine's claims. The conclusion? Christine wasn't exaggerating. If anything, she was holding back. The ego collapse for Kody, this was humiliation on a level he never imagined. He always believed he could control the narrative. That even if one wife left, he could spin it, he could play the victim, he could make himself the misunderstood hero. But Christine's words were too precise, too raw, too undeniable. She wasn't yelling. She wasn't bitter. She was calm. Measured. Almost clinical. And that's what made it sting the most. Because a raging ex can be dismissed. But a woman who speaks with clarity, with evidence, with grace? That's a woman who's telling the truth. The first ripple of fallout within a week of her book's release, whispers started in Flagstaff. Church members who once defended Kody went quiet. Business partners backed away. Even TLC executives reportedly started to panic, unsure if the Sister Wives brand could survive a scandal this deep. And for the first time in years, it wasn't Robin who was trending. It wasn't Kody. It wasn't Mary or Janelle. It was Christine. The underdog. The one who walked away. The one who found happiness outside of Kody's shadow. She wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. And she wasn't finished. Because part 2 of her book? The teasers hinted at something darker. Something the cameras never caught. Something that could bring Kody to his knees, not just as a husband, but as a father. The bedroom bombshells the teaser Christine dropped wasn't just about money. It wasn't just about power. It was about the one thing Kody never wanted the world to know, the intimacy map of his marriages. And Christine? She cracked it open like dynamite. Because behind those carefully curated TLC scenes, behind the polygamy lectures and "I treat all my wives equally" speeches, Christine was about to confirm what the family had whispered for years: Kody didn't just have favorites in finances. He had favorites in the bedroom. The unequal marriage bed. Christine writes that she began to notice subtle changes in her marriage long before she ever spoke about it publicly. The shift wasn't just about affection. It wasn't just about arguments. It was in the silence. The missing touch. The way Kody's body language hardened like stone when he sat beside her. And then, worse, the way he lit up when Robin walked into the room. Christine lays it bare: there was a night when I realized, he doesn't want me. Not as a partner, not as a lover. He only wants Robin. The rest of us are set pieces in his show. That one confession? It's already making headlines. Because in fundamentalist polygamy culture, where intimacy is supposed to rotate with fairness, Christine is blowing the whistle. Kody never played fair. The rule that never applied to Robin in polygamist families: intimacy rules are sacred. Equal time. Equal affection. Equal nights. But Christine's memoir reveals that once Robin entered the picture, those rules were torched. Christine recalls, sometimes weeks, months would go by. No touch, no visit, no presence. And yet Robin's house? He was always there. Day, night, it didn't matter. The rulebook only applied to us, never to her. And just like that, fans are reeling. Because if Christine's words are true, then Kody didn't just neglect his wives. He weaponized intimacy. He made affection a currency, giving all of it to Robin, and withholding it from the others as punishment. Janelle's quiet confession. What Christine writes next is going to hit Janelle's fans like a knife to the chest. Christine reveals that Janelle once confided in her late one night, when the loneliness was too much, "I don't think he even sees me anymore. It's like I'm a coworker, not a wife." Those words? They mirror exactly what fans have suspected for years. Janelle was the silent soldier, the one who carried responsibility, the one who kept peace. And Kody rewarded her loyalty with distance. Christine says she watched her sister wife break under the weight of that coldness, but still, Janelle stayed, until one day, the scales finally tipped. Mary's painful truth. And then, Mary. Christine writes that the pain Mary carried was sharper than the rest of them. Because Mary wasn't just neglected. She was abandoned. Christine recalls a conversation where Mary, holding back tears, whispered, "He told me, flat out, he will never be intimate with me again." And that's when I realized, I'm not a wife. I'm just a name on paper. That moment? The internet is calling it the death sentence of Mary's marriage. And Christine is the one confirming it in print. Robin's sacred privilege. The most shocking part of this section isn't what Kody took away from Christine, Janelle, or Mary. It's what he gave to Robin. Christine details how Robin would brag, even subtly, about sacred moments with Kody, about how connected they were, about how she felt chosen. Christine writes, with a bitterness that leaps off the page, it wasn't just that Robin had more of him. It was that she flaunted it. She wanted us to know she was the favorite. And with that, the carefully built facade of equality collapses. The bedroom divide becomes public. Fans who read Christine's memoir are already connecting the dots. They're remembering all those TLC moments where Kody looked angry, detached, or outright hostile when sitting next to Christine, Janelle, or Mary, while glowing, laughing, and tender when Robin entered the frame. Christine is simply confirming what we all saw with our own eyes. But here's the kicker, Christine isn't just exposing the bedroom divide. She's exposing the emotional fallout that came from it. The children felt it too. Christine writes that the kids noticed the favoritism. Even though Kody insisted he was a fair father, the children could sense where the love and intimacy really lived. They weren't blind. They saw he was always with Robin. They saw the way he looked at her. And in their hearts, they knew he wasn't just her husband. He was only her husband. And that truth cuts deeper than anything else. Because this isn't just a story about wives. It's a story about children growing up in a home where they knew their father picked one family over the others. Christine's ultimate breakpoint. Christine confesses that the final straw for her wasn't money, wasn't even parenting, it was intimacy. The night I realized I couldn't do it anymore was the night I saw clearly, he will never choose me again. No matter what I give, no matter how hard I try, his heart, his body, his loyalty, it's all for Robin. That one line is going to live in infamy. Because it transforms Christine's divorce from Kody from just a legal or financial decision, into an act of survival. Cliffhanger. But Christine doesn't stop there. She doesn't just tell her truth and walk away. She takes a scalpel to Kody and Robin's entire narrative. And in the next chapter? She pulls back the curtain on what was really happening behind TLC's cameras, how Robin worked the producers, how Kody staged his family man act, and how the women were forced into silence. Christine is about to name names, spill contracts, and expose the machine that kept Robin in power. And when that part drops? It won't just humiliate Kody. It will humiliate TLC itself. The bedroom bombshells. The whispers began as soon as Christine dropped the teaser about her book. At first, fans thought it was going to be another polite retelling of her journey out of polygamy, something empowering, yes, but safe. But then, details started to leak. Details that made even the most hardened Sister Wives viewers sit up straight. Christine wasn't just writing about financial betrayals. She wasn't just exposing Kody's favoritism or Robin's manipulation. She was going deeper. Into the one area Kody Brown always swore was sacred. The bedroom. For years, Kody had hidden behind words like sacred space, private covenant, and respect. He told Mary, Janelle, and Christine that discussing intimacy publicly was a betrayal of trust. He used that excuse to shame them into silence while he paraded his obsession with Robin on national television. But Christine? She was done keeping his secrets. And in her memoir, she revealed what no one expected, Kody's intimate life was never equal. Behind closed doors, he played favorites. He gave Robin the romance, the passion, the connection. The others? They got scraps, if anything at all. Christine writes about the nights she waited for him, getting dressed up, trying to look beautiful, hoping he would choose her. But time and time again, he didn't. He would cancel, reschedule, or simply vanish into Robin's home, shutting the door both figuratively and literally on the rest of his wives. And then came the line that sent shockwaves across social media. I realized I had been living in a marriage without intimacy for years, while watching him pour everything into Robin. He didn't just withdraw physically. He withdrew emotionally, spiritually, and financially. We were married in name only. But Robin? Robin got the husband. We got the crumbs. The internet exploded. Fans who had always suspected favoritism suddenly had confirmation. Mary's loneliness wasn't just emotional, it was engineered. Janelle's resilience wasn't just about independence, it was survival in the absence of love. Christine's divorce wasn't just about incompatibility, it was about years of neglect, humiliation, and rejection. Kody, of course, tried to fight back. He claimed that Christine was exaggerating, that she was making it sound worse than it was. But the more he talked, the more people realized this wasn't just Christine's opinion. This was truth backed up by years of footage, years of body language, years of women looking directly into the camera and silently pleading for love they never received. And Christine didn't stop at her own experience. She exposed the pattern. She laid it bare, Mary, strung along, gaslit into believing she had a chance, all while Kody cut her off physically decades before. Janelle, left to fend for herself, treated as more of a business partner than a wife, intimacy rationed like an obligation. Christine, ignored, rejected, and shamed for wanting what Robyn was handed freely. Robyn, the exception. The golden wife. The one who got everything. It wasn't just favoritism. It was a deliberate dismantling of the foundation of plural marriage. Christine's words painted Kody as a man who used intimacy as a weapon. Who decided who was worthy of love and who wasn't. And in doing so, she broke the last illusion of equality. The fallout was immediate. Social media platforms lit up with hashtags. Hashtag Kody exposed, hashtag sacred no more, hashtag justice for the sister wives. Fans flooded forums with their own observations, rewatching old episodes through a new lens. Suddenly, every awkward glance, every half-hearted kiss, every missed anniversary took on new meaning. Christine had handed them the missing puzzle piece. And perhaps the most devastating blow? Christine admitted that she stayed silent for so long because she didn't want to humiliate her children by exposing the truth about their father. But now, with them grown, with her daughters urging her to tell her story, she felt free to write what she had carried for years. In one passage, she revealed, "My daughters would ask me, 'Mom, why doesn't Dad treat you like he treats Robyn?' And I had no answer. Because the truth was too painful. The truth was that their father had chosen, and it wasn't us." Those words didn't just burn Kody. They scorched Robyn too. Because in the end, Kody's choice to elevate one wife above all others destroyed the very family he claimed to cherish. But this was only the beginning. Christine's memoir had more, far more. Financial secrets, backroom deals, betrayals that went beyond intimacy and into the core of survival. And in the next chapter, she would blow the roof off the Brown family's biggest lie, the money. Financial betrayals exposed. If Christine's memoir promised intimacy revelations that would leave Kody humiliated, the real landmines were hidden in the financial chapters. Because let's be brutally honest, love can be dismissed as subjective. Feelings can be debated. Memory can be questioned. But money leaves a paper trail. And Christine, for the first time, was ready to peel back the curtain on how every dollar of sister wives' fame had been funneled, twisted, and rerouted, always to the same destination, Kody and Robyn. The myth of equal shares. From the very beginning, Kody had preached equality. What's mine is yours, what's yours is mine, and what's ours belongs to all the wives. That's how he sold polygamy. That's how he justified the sacrifices. That's how he convinced Christine, Janelle, and Mary to hand over paychecks, put their names on homes, and trust his so-called leadership. But Christine's book shattered that illusion. She claimed that by the time the family settled in Flagstaff, 95% of all TLC earnings were being rerouted into accounts Kody controlled with Robyn. Every paycheck from Christine's personal filming days, every bonus episode, every tell-all appearance? Deposited into a communal fund. But who had access to withdraw? Not Christine. Not Janelle. Not Mary. Just Kody and Robyn. Christine described the moment she realized the trap. "I was filming 16-hour days, bearing my soul to the cameras, while Robyn was cashing the checks." The bitterness wasn't just about money. It was about betrayal wrapped in scripture. Kody had hidden behind religion, using the word family as a weapon, and Christine finally ripped that mask away. The Coyote Pass conspiracy. Then came the bombshell about Coyote Pass. Christine revealed that she never wanted the land in Flagstaff. She said it wasn't an investment, it was a prison. She wrote, "Kody kept telling us we had to buy into the vision. But when I asked for paperwork proving my share, he stalled. He always stalled. I began to realize there was no share for me." Behind the scenes, Christine claimed she discovered that her name wasn't included on the majority of deeds. Meanwhile, Robin's name appeared everywhere. The so-called dream property was little more than a shell game, a way to funnel value into Kody and Robin's side while keeping the other wives tied down by emotional loyalty. When Christine finally decided to leave, her financial reality hit her like a slap in the face. No equity. No safety net. Nothing in my name. After years of sacrifice, I walked away with only what I had personally saved in secret. That revelation destroyed the myth of Kody the provider. Instead, he looked like a manipulator who traded women's loyalty for financial security, but only for himself and his favorite wife. Robin's role in the financial drain. Christine didn't spare Robin in her writing. She claimed Robin weaponized vulnerability, always crying poverty, always talking about being in debt from her past life. But behind closed doors? Robin allegedly lived in a $1.2 million home paid for by the very wives who couldn't afford their own mortgages. Christine recalled Robin's infamous jewelry business, "My sister wife's closet." What Christine revealed was shocking. The money for that business didn't come from Robin. It came from the family fund. It came from Janelle's savings. It came from mine. And when the business collapsed, we were the ones left holding the loss. Not Robin. It wasn't just poor business. It was a pattern. Robin took, the family paid, Kody excused. And now, for the first time, Christine put it in print. The children felt it too. Money isn't just numbers. It's opportunity. And Christine's most damning claim was that Kody's financial favoritism bled into the children's lives. According to her memoir, when one of Janelle's boys asked for help with tuition, Kody said the family couldn't afford it. But that same month, Christine alleged that Robin's kids were enrolled in private school at full cost, paid by family funds. The humiliation ran deeper than unpaid bills. It was the way Kody dismissed his own children's dreams while pouring resources into Robin's. Christine described watching Janelle cry at her kitchen table, calculator in hand, realizing she couldn't afford both rent and tuition for her boys, while across town, Robin's kids had tutors, sports fees, and full rides provided without question. Christine wrote, "I saw favoritism not just in Kody's heart, but in his wallet. And it broke something in me. Because love can be denied, but money tells the truth." The fallout of Christine's revelations. These financial chapters detonated like grenades across social media. Fans had suspected favoritism. They'd seen hints of manipulation. But to have it spelled out in Christine's own words, with timelines, with details, was catastrophic for Kody and Robin's image. Former fans began demanding accountability. Calls for TLC to investigate their finances trended for days. TikToks dissected the Coyote Pass deeds, while Twitter lit up with receipts from real estate records. Christine hadn't just written a memoir. She'd armed the world with evidence. And suddenly, Kody's carefully crafted narrative, the one where he was a struggling father doing his best, crumbled. In its place stood a portrait of a man who robbed his wives of financial security while showering Robin with everything. The hook for what comes next. But Christine wasn't done. If Part 5 of her memoir proved that money was the weapon Kody used to control his wives, then Part 6 was going to prove that intimacy was the battlefield where he destroyed them. And the next chapter wasn't just humiliating. It was going to strip Kody down to the bone, exposing private bedroom truths that would leave him permanently stained in the public eye. Because money may buy houses, but intimacy reveals the soul. And Christine was about to show the world exactly what kind of man Kody Brown really was. The house of cards comes crashing down. The storm Christine unleashed with just a teaser had already left Kody stumbling. But now we enter the stage where the fallout becomes unstoppable. Because what Christine had written was not just a confession. It was a declaration of war. Robin in panic inside the Flagstaff mansion, Robin Brown paced like a trapped animal. Her face blotchy with tears, hands twisting, hair falling from its carefully curled frame. She hissed at Kody, "You have to fix this. You can't let her get away with this." But Kody was a shell of the man he once pretended to be. His hair wild, his chest heaving, eyes darting like a cornered wolf. Fix this? How could he fix this when the world was salivating at Christine's every word? Because Christine had broken the unspoken covenant of polygamy, the silence, the secrecy, the keep it in the family code. She was airing it all out. The financial betrayals. The bedroom favoritism. The manipulation, the rejection, the shame. Robin saw it clearly. Every chapter of Christine's memoir was another nail in the coffin of their public image. And by extension, Robin's carefully built empire of victimhood. The children see everything. For years, Kody brushed off the impact of his actions on his children. He told himself, "They'll understand one day. They'll see that I did this for love." But the children were watching. They always had been. Garrison's quiet pain. Gabriel's explosive heartbreak. Aspen's silent endurance. Mykelti's biting honesty. And now, they were adults. Adults who no longer feared Kody's temper, his punishments, or his favoritism. Adults with platforms of their own. And the second Christine's teaser dropped, the kids filled the gaps. Social media became their outlet. Clips, memes, comments, all exposing what they had endured. Every ignored birthday. Every cancelled holiday. Every moment where their father chose Robin's tears over their existence. And the internet, oh, the internet was merciless. Kody Brown was no longer the patriarch of a once beloved TLC family. He was a meme. A cautionary tale. A punchline. TLC in a tailspin behind the cameras, TLC executives sat in boardrooms filled with tension. Christine's memoir was not just a personal book, it was a ratings bomb. A scandal too big to control. Emails flooded in. Advertisers were asking questions. Fans were demanding answers.